G'day reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Thanks for watching Gallery Aquatica TV. So today we're going to take you through the maintenance of a 3,000 litre tank. Now we've got Ben started behind us with a gravel vac and we're doing a bit of a water change and a few other things up here. But first of all, we'll take you downstairs and we'll show you the heart of the filtration system and what we're going to do with that for maintenance of such a big system. So we've just come downstairs to the filter room and we're going to have a look at the water chemistry before we do any maintenance on the system. We have had some low KH calcium magnesium levels, so they're going to be the main things I'm going to focus on. The phosphate and nitrate have been pretty good, they've been very low, not too worried about those. So we'll check the water chemistry and then we'll have a look at some of the components and some of the regular maintenance we do on this massive system. So we've tested the water, the calcium KH is a little bit low, so we're going to adjust the calcium reactor slightly as well as do a manual dose of calcium and buffer into the sump. So now we're going to clean the protein skimmer. As you can see, this Octo is an absolute beast and it's got a very large filter cup, and before we do any maintenance on this skimmer we have to turn off the circulation pump, which is this DC pump down here. And I'm just going to pull it out. You can see that the skimmer has been running a little bit low, which is why we've got so much waste accumulating on the neck of the skimmer cup. So we'll turn up the input pump so that it's skimming a little bit higher after we give it a clean. Now we have an emergency drainage line. If it happens that the skimmer over skims, it will feed down through this tube and out into the waste, creating a smelly mess for someone. However, it never happens. And we've also got an exhaust line here, so we can open this up and we can empty out the cup. But we're giving it a clean today, so I'll take it off. One of the great things to have in a dedicated filter room is a dedicated sink. And I've just got an old scouring pad. This is pretty much all raw. When the skimmer is tuned well, it is incredible how much waste it pulls out. So we'll definitely have to check the tuning of this before we leave. So we've cleaned out our filter, our skimmer collection cup. We've put the skimmer back in place. We're going to put our overflow line on. Our waste is nice and tight. So I'll plug this in and just check out this pump. It's incredible how much foam that this creates. But we have to tune this skimmer because it was skimming a little bit low. And the way that I'll probably do it will be to increase the flow of water into the skimmer. I won't be able to do it just yet because having given it a clean, it's probably going to skim a little bit higher. I'll give it half an hour to settle and then we'll tune the skimmer. So whilst we've been working down here, Ben has kept on gravel siphoning upstairs, and so the water level of the system has been decreasing. And so we've seen it in the sump. That noise, that horrible noise, is the sump running dry. We're going to put more water into the sump. Here we go. So something that's a little bit different about this system to what we would normally run is the freshwater top up system. And we're using a DI resin system. So it's de-ionization resin that's inside of these cylinders. Water is passed through to purify the water and we get a reading of the total dissolved solids, also called TDS. Now we've tested the TDS of the water coming out of this filter and it's a little bit higher than what we want. So we're going to change the resin in this system. So it's the first time I've ever replaced the media in a system like this. So it'll be a little bit interesting to see how it goes. Usually we use smaller RO filters, which are a lot smaller physically. So we'll give it a go and we'll see how easy it is to change out the media in this DI resin filter. So this is our new resin that we're going to put into the resin filter. I don't know if there's an easy way of doing this. So we're tipping our resin into our resin filter and we realise that we don't have the funnel that we should have brought to do so. So we've got one of our parameter logs and we're just going to use that so that we can easily fill this reactor. So we finally got all of the new resin into our cylinders and we're just putting it all back together. We'll let it run for a bit and then we'll check the TDS and see where we're at. So we've just stepped outside so we can test our TDS of the water that's now coming out of the DI filter to see what the TDS is. Now bearing in mind the TDS before was pretty bad, it was really high. So just put it in like so, give it a bit of a wiggle. Alright, that's what we want to see. We've got a TDS of 0. So all of that new resin is pulling out all of the dissolved solids and we now have some nice pure water that we can use to top up our system due to the water that's lost with evaporation. So anyway, really happy with this. Now this is the first time I've ever cleaned out a DI filter like this one. So if anyone knows of any better ways, any tricks, let me know, because we're going to have to do this one again in another 6 to 12 months. So this filter system has got some filter pad which sits on top of the wet dry trickle filter. So we're going to replace that today and I'm just going to roughly cut the size that I need using my Leatherman. One. That's all I want, and now we'll pull out the old stuff and replace it with the new. So we've cleaned out our protein skimmer, we've replaced the resin in our DI filter, we've changed the filter pad up above the wet dry trickle filters. We've also looked at the calcium, KH and mag and adjusted slightly. So let's go back to the tank, have a better look at it, and we'll finish off with the algae on the glass. So let's go have a look. So the last time we filmed this tank, quite a few of our viewers made mention of what they believed was green hair algae. It's actually what we call in Australia turtle grass, and it is a highly desirable, very difficult to keep type of macroalgae, and when it's growing well, it's an absolutely beautiful addition to a reef tank. You can see that there are some white patches. Now that's only new in the last few weeks, and I believe that's probably been caused from the low calcium, KH and mag. So we've fixed that problem, so hopefully next time we're here, we'll see it lush and green again. So I'm just gonna fix up a coral and then we'll do the polished glass. Given the depth of the tank, being over 3 feet tall, we're going to use our long-handled graspers. Oh, that's not what you want to do. Drop a coral on another. So this has definitely suffered somewhat from being upside down. So we're also due to remove some of this halimeda. I think we'll leave this for next time, but certainly it's at the point that it needs to be removed. Get rid of some of this sand off the clam, and we'll also flatten the coral sand a little bit. So these sarcophytons are so large that sometimes they get a little bit of detritus settling in the center. So I just waft my hand over the tank like so, and that's all it takes just to remove the detritus. If it's there for too long, it can cause slight necrosis and stop the coral from actually opening up, putting its polyps out. It's a good idea to waft your hand over the tank in various spots just to remove debris and detritus. That's about it. So the glass on this tank is 19 mil thick, so it's really thick glass. It's also, being such a beautiful, valuable tank, it's very important that we don't scratch the glass on this tank. So the way that we do the algae is very carefully with a Flipper Max. Now this allows us to carefully clean off the algae right to the substrate line without the fear of scratching the glass. We do of course have to be careful that we don't pick up any little bits of coral sand, but that's pretty easy with the flipper. So we're just going to finish off the algae and then we'll just do a bit of a touch up and that will be our job done. So we've finished our water change, we've done our algae clean, we've polished the front of the glass, so everything is pretty much done. Now we do this maintenance around about once a week. We don't do a water change every time, but we certainly do a lot of the jobs that we've done today. So that's it for our maintenance on a 3,000 litre reef system. I really hope you've enjoyed watching today's episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. So thanks so much for watching and keep on reefing. So that's our video for today. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe as well. We'll be putting out videos every week showing a new tank with new products. There's going to be lots in all the videos. I'm Cam the Fish Guy, and keep on reefing.